Hello and welcome back. This is Paolo, your host, and this is another episode of Conversations in Artificial Intelligence. So today we're gonna take a look at the world of analytics, marketing analytics, and how artificial intelligence is being applied, what new use cases are emerging, and how technologies are impacting our understanding of computer behavior, of consumer behaviors, and how we and companies can understand consumers better. So with us today, we have a serial entrepreneur, data analytics specialist, Jesus Sanchez from Chicago. How are you today?
So far, so good. Not as cold as last week, but looking good.
So Jesus, we'd like to learn a little bit about yourself. So you had this long career in analytics. What are the 2 or 3 pivot points that you think are really important to talk about?
Once again, thank you for the opportunity, and hello here from Chicago. I started my career about 20 years ago in CRM, marketing automation, email analytics, and so forth for big corporations. So that's how I started my career, hands-on, writing code myself, creating reports and working with, a variety of retailers and industries. Then I went to a big pre-sales role with a big software company. And that's when I saw the first opportunity, the analytics, adaptive modeling, real-time marketing, next best action for marketers were really, really taking off. And the challenge was that there were a couple of pioneer software companies actually developing this technology, but there was not enough quality trained resources to do the implementation for the big corporations. So that's what I decided to create my first, company, my first consultancy. We deploy, 25 projects in about 16 countries. We did quite well. Then after that, we realized, we're implementing all this type of software. We think that we can have kind of like the secret magic, the secret sauce to do it better ourselves. Now that we learn from the first hand what people use, what are the features they're really looking for, and the things they really want to accomplish within their business. We did that, and then spin off that company, and then the last company, Picado, it was all about machine learning, artificial intelligence for mobile promotions, coupons, and offers. Run the company for about 2 years or so. We did pilots and signed customers like Ulta and Target and Samsung and Sears and Dick's Sporting Goods and Kohl's and so forth. And then about October 2015, the company was acquired by RetailNex out of San Jose. It's a retail analytics company, very well established, in the marketplace, one of the market leaders on in-store analytics. So we joined forces and we became part of the RetailNex offering.
I would like to pinpoint on a couple of things that you said. One was that your entrepreneurial experience moved from consulting to create a first product. So you got a lot of insights first as a consultant installing software, and then you realized how to create the first software. Why did you eventually decide to sell the company? Like what did you see in the marketplace, and what type of synergies were important in the particular space of retail analytics where you were working and mobile analytics where you were working that made you thinking that was a better direction?
Yeah, absolutely. So before getting acquired by RetailNex, we were partners, right? So we already had conversations. We had some integrations going on. We have been working together, pitching a couple of customers together. So we got to know each other quite well. So back in mid-2015, I don't know if you guys remember, we hit a little bit of crisis or plateau with investment. So investment was drying out a little bit. There was a lot of concerns about, what was going to happen with the whole investment framework. So we were approached by VCs. We did obviously the round of pitches. We got several term sheets. But at the time, my challenge was that it was very hard to go into a business, into a retailer, and try to make sure that they understand how our software differentiate and separate it for the other 5,000 companies and people saying, yes, we do marketing analytics, we do AI for marketing. The word is being overused and it's being overutilized. So as an entrepreneur, the first goal that you have is to see your baby grow as fast, as big as possible. So by joining forces with RetailNex, it gave us the opportunity of grabbing our baby and our software that we created and making something unique. And by something unique means is, we all hear the word omni-channel, 17 times a day. The challenge is that still, at least for retail, still 90+% of transactions are happening in the store, in the brick and mortar, the physical world. So how can we truly be omni-channel, and how can we personalize and apply AI and marketing technology to a potential shopper where 90% of those transactions are blindfolded? We don't know from the physical world how we can arbitrate and augment the digital world. So by joining forces with a top leader in analytics for brick and mortar, for the actual physical stores, with a digital platform and analytics platform, we were able to create something new and something unique. And also, obviously, RetailNext has a great footprint with retailers, relationships in place, great marketing, great brand. So I think it was a great opportunity for us to say, it is time to take our product to the next level and make sure that our baby grow as big and as quick as possible.
So this is, I think for the audience, this is pretty insightful, and it's really the, I would say, the thinking that goes behind an acquisition. In this case, it looks like there are two drivers. One is the go-to-market strategy. So you're trying to leveraging somebody that has already a footprint, has already a reputation, and so as open doors. The other element seems to be a product combination that gives a stronger differentiation in the marketplace. I like to investigate a little bit more the aspect around the product here. So what you were doing before, and what problem we're trying to solve, and how the merge with the other company evolved the product, and what type of use case you were able to serve in the marketplace.
We all know that cross-sell, upsell, it's much easier and less friction than doing a new sell from scratch. So being able to integrate their software with the RetailNext data sources and RetailNext products gave us a very good platform to go and say, hey, you already use the RetailNext product for camera tracking, insight analytics. This is an add-on that we can have for your marketing team. So it kind of like opens the door on a way and give us access to conversations and retailers and marketers that was pretty challenging for us, to get before. So RetailNext, to put it in very simple words, it's the Google Analytics for the physical world. So RetailNext uses cameras, devices, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi signals to understand traffic, shopping behaviors inside the store, shopping patterns and analytics, and really, what Google did for the web, that you understand what people went to the website, how much time they spent there, what products they were looking for, how many of them were into the basket, how many of them they shop or they abandoned. RetailNext does it for the physical world. So really understanding what's happening in the analytics of the physical world. So by joining forces before, a use case is someone goes to a website, someone goes to the store, join the Wi-Fi or scan a QR code or when and make a purchase. Based on that information in real time, we can give you a promotion, offer a coupon. By joining forces with RetailNext, we can have a use case like we can personalize or arbitrate an offer being open at someone's couch as they're browsing the web, based on what people like them that fits into their profile are doing in the store closest to them, right? So it's the idea to bring the analytics and the knowledge that we're acquiring in real time from the stores into the marketing and the dynamic world.
I like to, dig a little bit more around this use case because it's a big one. So just for our audience, if you're not part of the e-commerce/retail world, today, one of the big trends in application of, if you like, artificial intelligence is the multi-channel marketing/consumer behavior, basically. So today, shoppers, they don't only shop on mobile or on a computer, but they live a normal life, and part of the normal life is going to the grocery store. Then maybe if they forget something or they just want to buy something else and they go online, then maybe they are on the run and they look at things on the mobile. So their experience is pretty complex, and there is an entire movement in companies that is behind this consumer experience and is trying to make sense of how consumers actually shop on all these various platforms and what is their journey. So, Jesus, I'd like to understand a little bit better what was the thinking or what was the value in understanding the consumer when it goes from, let's say, shopping in the retail to shopping online. And then you also mentioned that you wanted to study the behavior of consumers on the retail and then leverage the behavior in the online world.
Yeah, there are multiple ways to apply, AI, or to apply analytics to that information. So, for example, I don't want to oversimplify, but I want to keep it simple so we understand the concepts, from the conception of that specific, use case. So let's say that we have a specific store. There are a lot of customers around the store looking at the website, opening emails, receiving SMS. As you say, it's a flow, the continuous movement of conversations back and forth between the consumer and the brands. And let's say that we're talking about a big box retailer and they have currently no traffic on the toys department, and the toy inventory on that store is pretty high. So then automatically the AI application can detect that pattern. And now people that are opening emails or clicking on the SMS or walking into the store, getting receipts at the point of sale, we can then prioritize or put a little bit more emphasis on offers for toys, because that's what is actually will be helpful to impact the bottom line for that store at that moment. There is no movement of shoppers in that area. There is a lot of inventory, so we need to get rid of it, or we want to make sure that we minimize the cost impact of having that overstock on the inventory. So that's, once again, keeping it simple at the highest level, a way that we can use, an AI-like machine learning platform to detect those patterns and then to act in real time. I think the most critical and important thing for marketing and for business of the AI revolution, if you will, is the component and the word real time. Real time overcomes history. We can have petabytes of history, and that's all great. That all creates a CRM database. We can use it to study analytics, to create customer profiles, and things like that. But the idea is that real time overcomes history. So I went to a big box retailer and I bought a lawnmower accessory 8 months ago. That's a great piece of information. What is that telling me about Paolo going to the store and buying today? Maybe not much, right? So I can build the most predictive model, and I can build the most beautiful, logistic model for propensity, and say Paolo has 90% of propensity of chances to go to the store today and buy some shoes. So one of the most important things is how we leverage real-time information. How do we feed the real-time information to an AI machine learning ecosystem? And how can we react in real time to that signal from the environment? And how do we do it within 200 milliseconds or less, right? Because, the shopper's not going to wait there for 10 seconds or 10 minutes for the engine to react and then send a message or a signal back to the shopper.
So this is definitely, it's really the core here of the point, how things are evolving. So, if we look at analytics has been there for the last 20 years, and the idea of cross-sells, upsells, I think has been there for more than a decade. And I believe it was pioneered by Amazon initially, but it has been seen in the retail store for quite a bit of time. But now what you're saying is, we are moving from a world where we analyze static data to a world where we analyze real-time data. And one of the things that's very interesting listening to you is, dividing these operations in two portions. One is measuring the real-time intent, and the other one is making a decision real-time on how I engage the customer. Can you talk about these two things into a little bit more details?
There is no lack of data out there. The challenge is that there's too much data, and how do we make sense out of that data? So there could be as simple as, when you go into the store, there is a survey or an iPad or a device that you say, hey, here's what I'm looking here today. That's obviously, would be kind of like too good to be truth. But if we understand your shopping behavior for the web, we know what product you have browsed. We know what kind of persona you are. There are data provided by Google, by third-party people like Facebook, like LiveRamp, like people that does like cookie matching, that we can understand that data, analyze that data, and create personas and create intent. Right now, when you're creating a Google AdWords campaigns, one of the things that Google and Facebook has done pretty well is to say, you can label customers and say, well, Paolo, it's in market for baby food. Paolo is in market for toys for, like toddlers. So the idea is, now that we have this this ocean of data and this plateau of data coming from multiple signals. And trust me, when we're talking about a lot of data, we're saying a lot. So let me put it in perspective. On a typical month on a retail environment, capturing all these analytic signals, we could have between 3.5 to 3.8 trillion interactions and data points a month. That's a lot of data. And when you look at a customer record, when you say, here's a cookie ID, here's an email address, here's a persona that we may identify or not identify, but here's a record of a shopper, of an individual, we may go to 25, 30,000 variables about that specific shopper. And that's where the beauty of AI comes into play of, we as humans don't really have the capacity or the time or the resources to go and create such a finite targeting and segmentation about what do we do with the shopper, right? And then the challenge of the real-time analytics world, it's, yes, we have teams of analytics people writing models, scoring databases, but by the time those scores are being put in place, it may be too late. Or the scores or the machine is not getting smarter or better every time that we see a new interaction. So for me, when we are deploying, any type of AI machine learning solutions, the most critical thing and the absolutely foremost things that I look the most, and the first thing I look for, it's the machine is being deployed for 5-6 weeks. I want to see the continuous improvement. I want to see the curve going up in whatever is the metric we're optimizing for. We're optimizing towards margin or redemption rate or, margin per issuance or inventory levels or, bottom line revenue and so forth. We set the goal and then we have to see that goal going up until obviously a plateau, and then we change strategies. But the real-time component it's dramatically overseen by businesses and by organizations. And for me, it's the most important, most critical piece of a successful, marketing technology / AI machine learning solution.
Again, I reiterate, this is a really crucial area to understand this evolution from static machine learning to real-time, and then detecting intent, real-time, acting upon engagement. So can you give us a few examples of what we can do in terms of engaging the customer when he's in the store and when he's at home?
Well, once again, what we can do today, and as you said, pretty rightful. So, this whole movement, you wouldn't say that was created, but you can say that all this movement was jump-started with Amazon about 15 years ago. And the very first example that we saw about, a machine learning solution was item-based predictive model. So people who bought this book is also able or were interested in buying this different books. So those are the most simple kind of like examples. But now has evolved because now we have the capacity of analyzing, a lot of data. And I also want to take this opportunity, Paolo, to demystify a little bit of what I hear and what I see about AI and machine learning. I'm not saying that, Google and Facebook and startups has a bunch of, very dedicated PhDs and writing formulas and algorithms and, creating new math and new ways to address business issues. But on the real life, a lot of this deep learning and neural algorithms and random forests, logistic models, gaming clusters, all these different plateau of algorithms that we have as weapons of tools to create AI solutions, they were created in the 50s and the 60s, right? They are 40, 50, 60 years old. The math is not new. We're not inventing new math, or at least not on a daily basis, as people believe. What has changed is two primarily things. One, it's that now we have the processing power at a cost-efficient way that we can process 1-2 trillion decisions within a second. That's, number one. And number two, then now we have a lot of digital evidence. We all know that for a deep learning model to be very efficient, you need massive amounts of data. So 15 years ago, we really didn't have enough digital evidence for us to go to a machine and say, here's a picture of a cat, and then show it 1 million pictures of a cat so the machine can understand the patterns and recognize that when I see this, this is a cat. Right now we do. And that real-time information, that plateau of information that we're gathering, it's now closing the gap between the speed and the reliability of processing at a cost-efficient way and the massive amount of data that we can use and that we can leverage. So, I want to make sure that I put that out there, because I see this as one of the challenges or the misconceptions that, I need to go after, this PhD that is making new math and writing new models. And that's really not the case, because, a lot of this, algorithms and techniques being used today were created, 40, 50, 60 years ago.
So this is something I have, other speakers here on conversation artificial intelligence has pointed out, and it is basically the convergence of data infrastructures and the ability to process this really triggering these new applications. So what do you find in the marketplace in terms of managers? Do managers understand the value of real-time analytics, one? And two, do they understand that lots of the innovation here is driven by, if you like, the data infrastructure and the processing power, or is there a disconnect that you find in the marketplace today?
Well, it's a little bit of disconnection / misinformation. So, we all know, I think the last white paper that I read, it says like 89% of executives say that in 2009, AI, machine learning, is one of the most critical things to do. Everyone is doing it. Everyone is talking about it. It's like, 8 years ago, I need to have a Facebook page. Why? I don't know, because I have to have one. Everyone has one. So I have to have one. Go and build me one. Or like, 20 years ago, I need to have a website. Why? Because everyone's building a website. So I have to have one. So, it's the same issue that we see with, emerging technologies. It's not about what is the technology that is out there. It's what is the problem I'm trying to solve and how I'm going to go about it in solving that problem. The way that I see AI, it's like the movie Avatar. We all have seen the movie Avatar. And what it makes the Avatar world so amazing is like every single creature, every plant, every living being on the planet is interconnected. And that's one of the challenges of AI, what it makes it so fascinating and so complex, is that every single piece of this AI revolution is interconnected. I'll give you an example. Once again, I always love to keep things very simple. One of the major challenges is that we're tackling silo and very specific issues one at a time, but we are actually missing the point of making them interconnect or talk to each other. Real case scenario. I may have a machine learning team and a marketing team building the best predictive model ever. And it's amazing. And I know that Paolo has 90% of chances of going to a store and buying some shoes. Great. You got the promotion. You saw the shoes. These people know me. I want this shoe. You go to a store, out of stock. Bad customer experience, right? Because the inventory and the people that were managing and optimizing the inventory wasn't talking to the people optimizing the campaign. Let me take that example even one step further. You go to a store and you see the shoe and you see that they have it and you really want it. But can you really go and try the shoe on? No, you have to wait for a store associate to kind of help you to, go and get the shoe from the back of the store. You're sitting there for half an hour and there is no one to help you because the store personnel wasn't optimized for the traffic on that day at that time. So now I created two very bad experiences. So once again, it's a challenge, but it's an evolution of the machine learning where we started creating silo solutions on marketing, on inventory, on personal management, on merchandising, on store operations and logistics. But now the next evolution, it's in real time. How do we make all of them talk to each other? How do we create one brain, one solution that is aware of all these different silo decisions and making one optimized decision for the business as a whole? And that's where you're going to start seeing a lot of like reinforcement learning coming into play when I as a business can decide, here's my short-term goal, here's my long-term goal. And the reason why I believe reinforcement learning is going to be very important is because right now, almost everything that is being deployed, it's deployed with a short-term goal. I'll give you another example. I'm sending an email campaign. The goal is for you to click on the email. And all the models, all the data, everything that I'm optimizing for is for you to open that email. But it's really no long-term strategy. There's no long-term strategy to say, on this plateau of marketing channels, I can talk to you and all these different emails I'm sending to you. My really goal for this shopper, for this type of behavior, is that I want an extra trip to the store within 8 months. I want an extra item in the basket within the next 6 months. I want to shift this customer from this segment to that segment. So the next evolution is something like reinforcement learning, being aware and looking at all these different silo solutions and deployments, and then making decisions in real time based on a short-term and long-term goal for the business, for that shopper. And once again, in real time, and once again, under 200 milliseconds, which is, all these challenges, put into one pot. It makes it so exciting.
Let's look at, I would say 3 layers here. The layers of how all the data gets combined. What is the technology that does that? Let's look at the layer of the, if you like, the intelligence. So how do we make the decision on what needs to be done? And let's look at the layer of how do we serve the decisions. So what it is that we actually do. We send an email, we do, something else. Let's, trying to walk through a use case and kind of make our audience understanding what it means a little bit deeper.
The biggest opportunity, the biggest area when people have to, focus the attention is not much into the tech stack. Because once again, there is a lot of great open source applications out there. And the way that I see the open source ecosystem is like a toolkit, right? You go to a garage and you have all these different tools at your disposal. And you're being assigned a task, which is, let's go and build a car. Well, the person that has the most skill sets, the person who has the better team, the person who has the better management and leadership skills is going to build you the better car. So it's going to be you a Ferrari compared to building you something less than a Ferrari, right? So for me, for the technical audience, what I have seen that has a lot of room for opportunity is the fact to understand 2 simple things. One, what is the real business objective? Like, how do I understand what is that you're really trying to accomplish? Let's ask the next question, right? I've been in so many meetings when someone says, I need a propensity model to drive propensity for this area. And you go and say, okay, you need a propensity model, let me go and build it. But let's ask the next question. Why? What are you trying to accomplish? What is the end goal? How is that going to impact the bottom line? Have you thought about how that will change this to that? I'll give you another example. We deployed for a big box retailer, a few years ago, the first propensity model in real-time scoring, customers in real time. But then what happened, 95% of all the offers presented were appliances, because that's when they make the most money. So the model automatically said, well, here's appliances for everyone, right? So can you win a baseball game by swinging by home run every single time? Probably not. You need some hits, you need strategy. So maybe some people need some socks and tennis shoes and jeans. So the ability of understanding the business, really to understanding and ask the next question instead of taking the note and say, oh, you need a propensity model, let's go and build it. It's really understand, what's the objective. And then the second one is, how do we understand what are the best algorithms to accomplish that goal? And that's a very, very important thing, because what I have discovered in the past is that one algorithm doesn't give you the whole version of the truth. So you can have a random forest. Great. You created a propensity to buy something, but maybe you bought it and I lost money. Is that good for my business? Maybe not. So what we have seen in the past that have created a lot of impact for the business is a collection of models working in tandem, when every model gives you a different version of the truth. And all the models working in tandem then can create that ultimate decision. The last point is anyone can go, and log in Google or IBM and, start playing with Microsoft Azure and with TensorFlow and start downloading a math library, from Keras or Cyclic Learning or everything else. There's a lot of tools out there, a lot of different models. Anyone can do that. Anyone can actually go and pipe data into those models and get a score. Anyone can do that. What not everyone can do is to explain you and to put in process a way for that model to become better. For me, you have succeeded on your short-term goal where you can prove to your audience, you can prove to your managers, and you can prove to your executive leadership that the model and the process you put in place is improving over time. It's getting better towards the goal that we all achieve as a business. Because once again, I can put a score in, I can put a score out, and is that score good? That score bad? I don't know. Because then, that's the other challenge. There is not a lot of A/B testing. I do everything within my bubble, right? And within my bubble, I create a score, but how do I know this score is good or not? That's why I see a lot of retailers, primarily the bigger ones, starting to do a lot of A/B testing with third-party companies and startups. So how do I become more competitive internally if I don't know if what my team is producing internally is actually the best option, the best output or not? So you start seeing where, you get a team from IBM or Microsoft or startup, and we can say, well, you're going to get 10% of the traffic. I'm going to get 90 because I need to safeguard my business, and I'm going to compare mine to yours. And, I'm going to continue to create that perpetual A/B testing, and the winner is going to be the one creating the best results. And you can have that perpetual testing every month, every quarter, every year to start shifting who do you use, making sure that every time you got the winner that is, ahead of driving your business.
Not only the technology is the important thing, not only having the best of the scientists is the right thing, but asking the right questions and working in a way that deeply understand the business needs is actually where the differentiation is going to happen in the marketplace, and where you're going to get the best backs basically for the money when you invest in this machine learning and data science department. What will happen, like if you had to visualize just one single application, can you help us visualize one thing that will happen in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, let me get one thing absolutely clear that will happen within the next 20 years, and that, obviously contains the next three and 5. Like AI and machine learning will not replace humans, right? It's going to serve as an assistant to decision makers and provide the tools to optimize and maximize, all decision makings or all decision making process, right? So that's going to be the first step. The first step is where, right now we can use Alexa to assist us to make the shopping. We can use an AI solution to assist us to make a solution. And one of the biggest impacts that it's going to have for retail and for businesses is as we're capturing a lot of information, and as we are deploying more models, are we getting smarter about the business? And there's a lot of people talking obviously about, use cases about AR, use cases about, like shopping assistant, voice assistants. All those are great. We can spend another hour talking about different use cases. But one of the things that is going to impact the business the most is going to be the ability to run simulations. And I think that's going to be the next step in the next 3 or 5 years, because what's happened over the last 20, 25 years with marketing technology is like, I'm going to run an email campaign. I'm going to put a new dress in front of my store to capture traffic. I'm going to buy a new set of toys for my toy inventory. And I don't know what's going to happen until it happens. I don't know until I see into the history, or I see, 3, 5, 6, even a year ahead, what actually happened with that decision. So with the collaboration of models and with the harvesting of the data, we are going to be able to start creating very accurate simulations. So we as business decision makers are going to be able to make the best decisions knowing what is the likelihood of something to happen based on me introducing a variable today. Now, the other important thing that I see a lot of people making this mistake, and actually I label this as a mistake, is that every time that we deploy, any kind of AI machine learning solution, we have to be very careful to understand what are the variables that we're testing. What is the outcome that we're trying to achieve? Because what happens is we throw a lot of variables into the pot and something happened. What do you know was the variable that actually impacted that change? It's very difficult to assess and to isolate. So I want to make sure that people understand that I believe for businesses, the fact of simulation, it's going to be very important. The fact of, having all these AI, different teams working together, one brain, aware of multiple decisions, helping decision makers into make the best decision. And the last piece of advice that I can leave you with on all the 3 companies that I have had, and now just about to go into the 4th one, there is one thing that I kept always on the biggest wall of the office. And it's, a saying from Leonardo da Vinci, back from Italy. And every time that I talk to my engineers or talking to any of my business architects or any of the guys on the team, they know me when I just point at the wall. I don't even have to talk. I just point at the wall. And it's simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So we don't need to overcomplicate things. We need to go by, the best model, get the best deep learning model, get the thing that it has 99% of accuracy. let's get the ball rolling with what we have, with the team that we have. Let's pick one use case. Let's prove it. Let's sure that it's improving. Let's go to the second business case. And what we know that is improving and is proving, make the two use cases talk to each other. And they go to the third one. They go to the fourth one. They go to the fifth one. And a year from now, 2 years from now, you got 5 very robust use cases improving every time, all talking to each other.
Thank you so much. This is so interesting. If it was for me, I would keep talking for hours and hours, but the time is over. So for our audience today, we have a very interesting conversation, and what we learned a number of things around marketing analytics, real-time analytics, and also what is going to happen, especially in the domain of marketing and predictive marketing in the next 3 to 5 years. If you are interested to learn more about this, please comment on the video below. And if you have suggestions for content similar to this, please comment and let me know, and we will cater to your needs as well. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Jesus.
Thank you. Appreciate it.